Welcome to the Financial Planners Southeast Asia podcast, a show dedicated to driving the positive evolution of financial advice, specifically within Southeast Asia. To join a global community of financial advisors sharing and learning with one another to drive the positive evolution of financial advice, head to xyadvisor.com. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Financial Planners Southeast Asia podcast. Gwen here, and today I am with a special guest because she is a registered financial consultant and the vice president at the International Association of Registered Financial Consultants, or IARFC Philippine chapter. Please help me welcome Grace Escobar. Thank you so much for coming to the show, Grace.
Hi, Gwen. It's a pleasure to be here.
Right. And yes, and of course, the pleasure is all mine. I've mentioned this earlier that it's I'm happy to squeeze out as much information as we can from you in this podcast, and hopefully we can share it to as many financial advisors, not only in the Philippines, but in Southeast Asia as well, and the rest of our listeners from around the world. So before we dive into the main topic, I'd like to ask, and for the benefit of our listeners as well, how did you get into financial advice?
Yeah, it was actually an invitation made by the company where I was affiliated with way back in 2005. And it was also, the RFC conversion course was also endorsed by my manager at that time. And in 2005, I was already in my 3 years stint as an insurance agent. And I was told that that was the way to the future of my career.
Yeah.
You promise, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And that is exactly the requirement for taking the RFC course, our Registered Financial Consultant Conversion course, is that you must have at least 3 years experience in a financial industry.
Right. So, and after taking that, what was the atmosphere of the financial advice industry back then?
The atmosphere. Well, in 2005, that was the year that investment-linked products were launched in the Philippines, especially by my company then. And at first, all of us are just selling insurance products.
Insurance, yeah.
And it is just a perfect timing that when I took the course, we were taught about the different facets of financial planning. So before that, my father was the one who was first engaged in the insurance industry, and we knew insurance as just part of risk management or insurance. But then in 2005, it became a different ballgame. So I was particularly interested in the investment, particularly in valuating the net asset valuation per unit, or the NAV pool. And for me, it would really help me do better in my finance personally.
Yeah.
So I had to first apply it personally, and of course to my clients. But then it really made a great challenge and excitement for me to enter the financial consulting world. That made a difference.
Yes. And I do agree with you with that, Grace, in a sense that I also jumped into financial advice in the industry because I wanted to learn more. And I thought, what better way to learn than to teach? So as I was advocating for financial literacy, I myself was learning, and whatever I learned, whatever I soaked up, I would tell it to other people as well, or advocate for it. So I think it's a great way. And now, a few years later, you're still in the industry and you're still thriving. And you mentioned before we started recording that you're still learning as well. So I think that's what financial advice is all about, is just learning new ways and how to become better in this industry. So I guess my next question is, I mentioned that you are the vice president of the IARFC in the Philippine
The
chapter.
executive vice president, actually.
Executive vice president. Wonderful, right? Thanks. And so you're also a registered financial consultant, and I guess I wanted to ask, like, here in the Philippines there are financial advisors and there are also financial consultants. So because you guys are part of, or you are a registered financial consultant, what's the difference between a financial advisor and a financial consultant?
Yeah, thank you for that. I guess a financial advisor represents an insurance company, a bank, a brokerage, and aims to give solutions with the company financial products. But the financial consultant represents his or her practice or service and appropriates the products suited to the needs of their clients, like
Mm.
real estate properties, HMOs, things that are not in the basket of services or financial products of the company affiliation.
Right. So it's more on the broader spectrum
Yeah,
part
we look
of a
for
person's
ways and
finances.
means on how to be able to address and how to help the clients attain their financial goals.
Yeah, and that's a really great way to help people, in particular Filipinos, to make better financial decisions.
Exactly. And along the way, you've got to do research. You've got to understand that whatever is that you are trying to give the clients as part of the solution, you should know yourself.
Yeah,
You wouldn't endorse something that you yourself will not embark on, right?
right.
So
And
we need to have a deeper understanding of what these financial solutions are.
oh, that's true. That's so true, because you can't sell something you don't know, right? And you wouldn't want to advocate for something that you're not very familiar with as well. Just so you have, if you have your client's best interest. Now,
Yes, and of course, the passion comes from where you also learned in the past. Like I myself made some wrong financial decisions before, and
yes.
had I known it way back then, my life could even be better. But because of that experience, it has made me more passionate with what I do.
Oh, that's so true. I remember I had a lot of mishaps as well with my money, and I thought that I was already good at it, but it turns out that I have yet to learn so much, and I learned those when I started going down the rabbit hole of financial advice, and that's why I understand that a lot of people are very passionate about financial literacy, financial education, and also being a consultant for other people, especially Filipinos, because I feel like there's still a gap, and we can see it in our in every Filipino, right? Like you can still see that there's a gap between what they already know and what they should learn.
Yes, because most Filipinos are emotional. They,
Yes. Mm.
if the children ask for something, like I have here a neighbor, um, whom when his youngest son said, Dad, I like that house, and that dad said that he just bought the house just because
Wow.
his son wanted it. So even children could be financial advisors to parents.
Yes, yes, that's so true. That's so true. I know this because I know that a lot of financial advisors actually started becoming advisors because because of what they saw in their parents. Like back in the days, their parents did not believe in insurance, they did not believe in HMO, and was scared of investing their money on the right things like stocks. Instead, they invested in Ponzi scams and the like, and they would not want that to repeat in their generation. So it's very interesting that there is a development in Filipinos' way of thinking in terms of money. So, what's your observation of the development of your profession as a financial consultant through the years that you've been in the industry?
To be honest, Gwen, a lot of financial advisors would want to elevate their practice in servicing their clients, and
Yes.
unfortunately, majority of them go back to product pushing after
Mm.
attending the RFC course. That is because of the 100 years old culture in the industry that they are encouraged to perform a certain degree of productivity. But the good news is there are insurance companies who partner with IARFC Philippines in order to give their financial advisors the paradigm shifts and skills they need to unravel in the financial goals of their clients through a proven scientific approach that would eventually successfully help their clients obtain their goals. And I'm so, proud of these insurance companies who really look for an association or a company which is dedicated to really do financial consulting and open these doors to their financial advisors. I really wish I could name drop their companies, but I won't.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so I believe that especially with this pandemic, the different companies or insurance companies and even banks are really pushing their bank managers or wealth managers and insurance advisors to get a higher education and a higher understanding of financial planning. So I believe we're on the right track. We are on
Right.
the
And
right track.
that's good to hear. So kudos to all of those companies who go above and beyond to
Mm.
serve their clients in a way that can not only benefit them as a company, but the individuals that they're serving as well. So, what are the different approaches that various financial consultants take when helping their clients?
Well, it all depends on their expertise. The financial consultants approach their clients based on the services that they can offer, like and the financial solutions available to them. Like some specialize in helping clients manage risk or pure risk, and those come from the insurance industry. Some market their services as a tax and in tax rather and estate planning. And people like Francis Cañizares, they are into investment planning,
Hmm, hmm.
and
Yes.
others into education, retirement, and funding for special projects. So it all depends. The approach differs in whatever service and financial solution you can actually give to your clients.
Wow, that's so cool. And so the financial consultants also have agency on what they can specialize in and based on what they're passionate about. Because I know, Francis, we already had a podcast recording. It would be out
Oh,
soon. So, to all the listeners, I hope you'll stay tuned for that. But yes, he's into investing. He's very passionate about it, and that's why he likes talking about it. And as an extension, would like to provide his services regarding that area.
yes. And in fact, Francis will be graduating this August, and he's actually
Mm,
on top of his class. He's
nice.
actually a portfolio manager.
Yep, yep. Wow, that's so cool. So good on Francis. And goes to show the type of people that are financial consultants now, right? And that are registered or affiliated in IARFC. So, what would like, I guess my next question is, h- how do you see this profession, financial consultants, how would they evolve throughout the 2020s, especially after the pandemic?
Actually, we're not through with the pandemic yet.
Oh, yes.
But with our pandemic journey for more than 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
am pretty sure our experiences have made us wiser. This pandemic has brought emphasis on risk management, or
Yes.
in putting a safety net in people's hopes and dreams, or the reason why they work. And a lot of breadwinners and frontliners succumbed to death. And with their untimely demise, families and children's future were jeopardized. And so, with this life uncertainty, the breadwinner should have, quote unquote, sufficient coverage. Now, more importantly, on risk management is the importance of having a health maintenance organization, or HMO, since we live in the Philippines.
Yes. Yes.
And our the health coverage is not taken care of by the government yet, but only by PhilHealth. So we this pandemic, or COVID-19, has proven the high cost of hospitalization. So that should be part of the portfolio of of each and every Filipino.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there ought to be an emphasis on investment planning. This pandemic has taken away 9 years of investment return.
Yes.
So it is not just about the return rates, but how much risks our clients can take. Are,
Yes.
are they into safe investing over capital growth investment? So we need to know where they're coming from. But because what if our clients are now about to retire? What happens to the retirement fund that they are expecting to receive? No? And there also ought to be an emphasis on emergency buffer fund.
Yes. Yes.
Emergency buffer fund should take over when there's a cessation of one's income, as what this pandemic has done to most small and medium enterprises. Previous to pandemic, the EBF, or emergency buffer fund, is about 3 to 6 months expenses. But my new definition of EBF is that it should now be 6 to 12 months.
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Yeah, because it took most people 6 months to adapt to the new normal, to create a new avenue for income generating activities, and to jumpstart their career. And how about these SMEs, these small businesses? And some of these businesses have closed. You go to the malls and you see them closed. And that
Yes.
is so sad. So by the way, Gwen, I just want to make an emphasis that emergency buffer fund, or EBF, should not be equated as risk management. Risk management are all about insurances,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But EBF is part of the liquidity of a person, wherein should the income stops. Right, this pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs,
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, I just got too excited. But
That's
this,
okay.
this is what pandemic has brought to each and every one of us. We need to know where to put emphasis on, especially in the way we handle our money. But
Oh,
if you
that's
don't
so
have
true.
that much fund, where will you get? These people who have pension, they are way better off than those who did not have any emergency buffer fund. At least during pandemic, they continued to receive their
Yes.
pension.
Yes, that's true. Oh, I would really 100% agree with that, Grace, because I experienced it. So, we hit the pandemic. The good thing is that by that time I was already in the financial advice industry, so I've already set myself up for success, as they say. But
Mm.
so the trials and tribulations did not end there, as last December we were also part of the area where we were hit by the typhoon Odette, and that
Mm.
set us back like in a very unexpected turn. But the good thing is we had that buffer for 6 to 12 months. We like very slowly reached that amount. And because we had that money set aside, it wasn't too difficult for us to get back on our feet. But I do
Exactly.
agree, yeah, not everyone has that, not because they didn't want to, but for some, like, as the typical Filipino story goes, they actually don't know any better. And that's why I totally agree that it should be an emphasis as a way of educating Filipinos through financial consulting, through advice and planning, that the buffer money should be at least 6 to 12
Right.
months,
Yeah.
because you don't know if there are back to back events in your life that's going to happen that will set you back.
Yeah. And do you know what else worked during this pandemic?
Mm,
What worked most is the faith of each and every Filipino people. It
yes,
is
that's so
their
true.
faith in God which actually brought them the resources to be able to go through the day to day expenses. More
Yes.
than our abilities and capabilities of growing money, it is the goodness of God. It is God's faithfulness. I could not attribute everything to how good I am in handling money, but
Yes.
that how good our God is. I'm sorry if I have to put that in.
Oh, that's fine. That it goes to show that we Filipinos are very faith centered, right? And that is true. I think one of the ways that we are resilient as Filipinos and other countries around the world actually say that we're very resilient people. And I think that's because we do turn to faith, and that
Yes.
makes us move forward when all is lost. But in our hearts, we know that all is not lost. We have our faith, and we have our families, and we have faith in the people around us in our community, because we know that it's something that can help us move forward.
Exactly. I'd say
Right.
amen to that.
Right. So and because you're not the only person or financial consultant here in the podcast who really has faith in and just puts everything they do for God. And I think that's very important that that we highlight that, I guess, because it's part of our culture, and that it's what makes us different as well. So I guess my next question now is, can you tell us more about? We've been talking about your organization, right? But
Yes.
um, let's let's set a spotlight on that. Like, can you tell us more about IARFC?
Yes, Gwen, gladly. IARFC means the International Association of Registered Financial Consultants. It is a global non-profit association of proven financial professionals formed to foster public confidence in financial services professionals and whose members adhere to the IARFC Code of Ethics. Gwen, it is actually founded in 1984. And the
Wow.
IARFC's mission is to recognize world-class financial consultants and empower them to make a transformational difference in the financial lives of the families and the communities they serve.
Wow, that's cool. Mhm.
Yes, actually, IARFC is also committed, or is rather committed to the overall process of financial consulting and wants the public to understand the value and benefits of engaging a professional. So they really put highlights also, and they give us this kind of distinction, separating us from other financial advisors.
Right.
So they
And
do recognize these professionals.
Mm-hmm.
who are really helping people, have transformational difference in their financial lives.
Wow, I like that transformational difference. And that's really something, right? To be able to transform a person's lives through finances, because finance affects everything. As you mentioned earlier, especially Filipinos, we're very emotional when it comes to money.
Yes, and one wrong financial decision could actually put you 5 years back.
That's true. That's true.
It all depends on the impact of or the gravity of the wrong decision that we make.
And I'm just curious, Grace, like how does like the RFC or the financial consultants um, provide service to their clients? Do they become partners for life, or do they do it in like a yearly basis and just with a program?
I believe it's meant to be for life.
Mm.
When you actually make a roadmap or a financial roadmap of a person, you also help them implement these. So financial consultancy is more than selling financial products or services. It is helping people implement the plans that you made for them, because no matter how good the financial plan is, if it is not implemented, it is good for nothing. So we talk about 32 years to retirement, and you
Mhm,
ought to
mhm,
be there. And with whatever financial product that you endorse, the question is the return rate or the long term rate that you used as a projection of that fund would be able to achieve the goals of that person.
mhm,
So
mhm,
that is why we need to have this financial plan review every now and then, say after a year or two, to make sure that everything is still in order. So I believe that financial consulting is partnership for life.
Yeah, that's ideally the same as a relationship a person has with their physician, right? Their family physician. It's meant to be for life, because
Yes.
yeah, not only do you help cultivate positive behaviors with regards to financial management, you also check in with clients to see if how financially healthy they are, that is.
Yeah.
So
And even lawyers with their lawyers, it is also a lifetime commitment to their lawyers.
yeah, that's true. With it's because it's something that you continuously go back to
Yeah.
at each cycle, or at least phase of a person's life, right?
Right. And plus they know your all the history of the
Yes,
family
yes.
history.
Um, that's. I think that's an important thing to highlight. Is to. It's actually best to keep coming back to the same
Yeah.
physician, lawyer, consultant, because they actually
Yes.
know your.
They're called
They
financial doctors.
Yeah, yes, because they already know your habits, like the journey that you went through,
Yes.
and how you tend to slip as well, right?
Yeah.
What are the things that trigger you to emotional spend and all that stuff? So that's very important. And I now, like, what's the advice that you would give to um, aspiring financial consultants?
Yeah. Thank you for that. The way you advance your career is up to you. The IARFC provides the opportunity to elevate your career and transform its trajectory. A financial consultant guides the financial plan process like goal identification, data organization, needs analysis review, problem identification, recommendation, and plan implementation. As a financial consultant or aspiring to be a financial consultant, you help your clients to save, to
Mm-hmm.
spend, to invest, insure, and plan wisely for the future. And if this is your advocacy, if you have the same advocacy as what I mentioned to help people do better in saving, spending, investing, insuring, and planning wisely for the future, then we invite you to be one with us.
Right.
You have to be in the same room with people who are like-minded, because you will learn from them, with our experiences from one client to another, that makes us wiser,
Yes, that's true.
right?
And
So I believe that's why we encourage people to be one of us, so we could have the same language, the same paradigm, the same attitude, the same passion, and it's all about helping our clients. And as we help others, we also are enlightened. You know,
that's true. That's true.
you learn, you profit from the experience of others.
Yeah, and it goes back to our discussion earlier that what better way to learn than to teach, right? So,
Exactly.
thank you so much for that one, Grace. Now, where can people find you if they want to get to know you more or contact you?
Okay, thank you. They can reach out at 0917-576-9207. Let me repeat that, please.
Mm-hmm.
0917-576-9207. And reach me in my email at gracedvescobar@gmail.com, and g.escobar@iarfc.org. So either or will do.
All right, wonderful. I'll make sure to include that in the show notes of this particular podcast episode. So thank you so much for coming to the show, Grace. It was really great speaking with you with regards to the financial consulting landscape of the Philippines and where it's headed in the years to come, and
Yeah.
what are the emphasis that we need to put on in areas in financial advice. So yeah, I'm very happy that you're here and we were able to discuss these things. So yeah, and I hope that we can have more discussions like these. If anyone who's listening wants to become a financial consultant, just go ahead and reach out to Grace. But for now, thank you so much for listening. Grace, thank you so much for being to the show. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gwen. And God bless everyone.